my name is Ashley Gorman, and this is my second Literary Element lesson plan. So I put it should take about 20 to 25 minutes for this lesson plan because you are reading a story, so it's going to take a little bit longer than normal lesson plans. And then obviously I put first grade or second grade somewhere in there, and then today's date, which I actually did it earlier in the week on Thursday, so I just put today's date when I sent it in. So teacher objective is ask and answer questions about key details in the text. So that's what I got off the state standards. So review, I put the teacher will review the key details in the story. So they'll go over like plot, setting, and she'll just go over definitions, or and what I did is just go over definitions of what each one means. And then you'll show them the book. So you'll just introduce the book. I chose the Pout Pout Fish. This is kind of, in my opinion, where you should just go over like the main characters, the author, plot, different things like that. So I just put oral response. I mean, you can ask questions if you need to, and I did, just kind of got their opinion on the book. And then of course the class has whole class. You want to introduce it to whole class to make sure everybody's paying attention. So overview, I put the purpose and importance is to prepare students to understand stories. So telling them and give them examples of this book about the setting, the plot, and different things, the elements of the story is going to help them learn and understand stories when they get older. So community, so I put in past, yesterday we learned about setting and themes in stories. Today we will learn about key details in stories. And in future, tomorrow, we will describe the main characters of the story. So just to kind of stretch it out, because obviously, especially with first graders in kindergarten, second grade, they have to learn several things. They take breaks, like going to the library, going to the computer lab, PE, and stuff like that every day. So I just put that today we'll go over like the key details, like where was the setting, who all were the characters, who was the main character, and different things like that. And then actual tomorrow, you describe the characters, so how many characters were there, the kind of background characters, different things like that. So once again, I put oral response. You can ask questions to them, just kind of get them to answer in the whole class. So objective, I put the teacher will ask questions about key details while the learner will answer questions about key details. So obviously you want to call on students or just kind of pick on them and make sure everybody's understanding and everybody's listening to you. So for motivation, I put the teacher will read the story, the Pout Pout Fish, to the class. The teacher will then ask questions about the story. And so some questions I gave examples of what is happening in the story. What is the key detail or main purpose of the story? So obviously supplies, you'll finally have the Pout Pout Fish book, or if you don't have the book, you can do a video on it on YouTube, and you'll use a smartboard on YouTube. The assessment, your students are going to be listening, they're going to listen to the story, and then they're going to be listening in oral, that way they can give you answers back. You want the whole class to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and read the Pout Pout Fish real quick. So it's the Pout Pout Fish. Deborah's Destiny was the one who written it, and pictured by Dan Hanna. And you see a big fish, and it's in the ocean, obviously. So on this first page, you see the Pout Pout Fish is kind of the main focus because he's the biggest one. He's blue. He's not blue as the ocean, but he kind of stands out to the darker blue, and all the fish are around him. So it says, deep in the water where the fish hang out lives a gloomy swimmer with an even peasant pout. I'm a Pout Pout Fish with a Pout Pout face, so I spread my jewelry worries all over the place. Blip, blip, blip. So you can obviously do different sound effects. That's just kind of how I always read it to my son, because he just kind of spreads out and gets fatter, and the words get fatter and longer. So obviously I think it'd be kind of cooler if you do different sound effects. Everybody's probably going to read it differently. So it says, along comes a clown with a wide winning grin and a pearl of advice for her palatate kin. Hey, Mr. Fish, with your crosstown frown, don't you think it's time to turn it upside down? Says the fish to his friend, nice dot, Miss Clown. I hear what you're saying, but it's just the way I am. So I also liked the book, especially if you're going to read it to younger students. It has some rhyme in it. Like I said, the illustrations covered a whole, like all the pages and every single page that you read. I'm a Pout Pout Fish with a Pout Pout face, so I spread my jewelry worries all over the place. Bloop, bloop, bloop. So every time he talks to somebody, he kind of gets upset, and like I said, spreads out, gets fatter, whatever you want to explain it, and the words also get bigger too. Along comes a jellyfish, he floats through the ocean, his tentacles all trailing in a gentle locomotion. Hey, Mr. Fish, with your daily scally scrowl, I wish you wouldn't greet us with a grimsel and a growl, says the fish to his friend. Mr. Jelly, I agree, I'd like to be more friendly, but it isn't up to me. So notice on the freezer's face that he kind of fell in a jar. You can barely see what it says. It says peanut, and then you can see that he's all the way in the jar, and he fell in the peanut butter jar. I think that's kind of a detail. I'm a pout fish with a pout face, so I spread my jewelries all over the place. Bloop, bloop, bloop. So every time he gets kind of sad and bloop, 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 it seems like he gets in more trouble also, because you could see where he fell in a peanut butter can, and then on the other one, he just kind of spread out and fell on the ground, and now it looks like he's falling in seaweed. Along comes a squid, quite a slender, squiggly sight. She is squirmy and scratchy with a slidey impolite. Hey, Mr. Fish, you heckalosca of mope. How about a smile, a little joy, a little hope, says the fish to his friend. Mrs. Squid, I would try, but I haven't any choice. Take a look and you'll see why. I'm a pout fish with a pout face. I spread my jewelries all over the place. Bloop, bloop, bloop. So he's trying to get out of the seaweed and out of kind of the web, and looks like he just gets in more trouble again. Along comes an octopus with 8 great arms, covered on the inside with his tiny sucker charms. Hey, Mr. Fish, let me tell you straight, your hulky bulky sucking is an unattractive trait, says the fish to his friend. Mr. 8, my chum, with a mouth like mine, I'm destined to be glum. Along comes a fish in a silent... Oh, I skipped the page. I thought I did. It's kind of sticking together. There we go. A pout fish with a pout face. I spread my jewelries all over the place. Bloop, bloop, bloop. And he fell into sand. Okay. Now along comes a fish in the silent silver shimmer. The gang has never seen before. This bright and brilliant swimmer. She approaches Mr. Fish, and instead of saying hey, she plants a kiss upon his pout, and then she swims away. So you can see it's silvery pink. It's very different than the blue pout fish. Or at least it looks like as far as color. I'm a kiss fish. With a kiss face, I spread my cherries all over the place. So now to me, it kind of looks like he's upside down, because if you look at it that way, it's the sand and stuff, so he's upside down, so he got kissed. I thought that was kind of interesting and cute. But now you see how he's happy, because he got smooshed and got kind of some wobbin'. So I'll smooch, 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 smooch. Now he's kissing all his friends. Smooch! And then he kisses the fish again. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of go over my reflection a little bit. Just because on the story, I kind of got some different actions than I thought. So I thought the book was really cute, obviously, because I guess I'm a girl. But I got kind of not so great reaction than I thought when the fish started smush, smush, smush. Because of course some boys are like, ew, cuties, because they are younger. So I wouldn't say they had like a really bad reaction to where like they got upset. But at the same time, like they were kind of started giggling and messing around like, oh, that's nasty, oh, that's cuties, and blah, blah. So maybe next time I'd probably pick a different story. Although I really like the story because I think it's really fun and funny. And it keeps their attention. At the same time, I guess I wouldn't really respect that kind of reaction. Okay, so the procedures too. So teacher will explain a motivating and understanding activity. Have a student predict what will happen in the story. So obviously you did this before the story. I just went ahead and read the story. Students answer aloud and write them down. Have students tell them what they found out of the story after you read it. So you can, once again, since you did show them the cover at the beginning, you'd be like, hey, you see the fish, you see the ocean, what do you think is going to happen to Pout Fish? Since it's called the Pout Fish, some kids answer, oh, he's going to be sad, or oh, he's going to be sad, he might make a friend. Some of them did predict that he would be kind of happy towards the end, so I was glad that they did predict that, because that's basically, in my opinion, what happens is he gets a smooch, and he's happy at the end. He realizes he's not a Pout Fish. So then you would answer them out loud. You can write it down in pencil, do expo markers, and make them write it on the board, whiteboards, desk, however you want to do it. I think it's just easier if you get them, and what I did is kind of a piece of paper and then pencil and just make them write it. So, oral response, you want the whole class to do it. So then, just to kind of go over to the key details of the story, obviously the main character is a fish and him making friends, so I just thought it'd be fun, especially if you're doing younger students, having them draw their own fish, and they can give, once you do that, you can have a couple of them like just show their piece of paper of a fish, or they can draw on the desk. It's kind of better in my opinion to do a piece of paper, that way you can actually show you, or go home and show their family, whoever they want to actually show to it. So obviously materials, you do blank paper, you can color pencils. For younger kids, I'd probably just suggest crayons. And it's an activity when you want the whole class to do it. I just thought that was kind of good to do because this is Fat Pout Fish, and you can see how sad and gloom, he's blue. So for them to do key details, because I feel like that's key details, him being blue, you can tell that he's sad. And he kind of perks up at the end. He's kind of a different color, in my opinion, and he looks more purpley at the end, or at least that's the color I see. He kind of changes a little bit. So I kind of felt like that was a good detail, and then you can kind of explain it to them too. So a lot of people are going to do their favorite color. All the girls are going to do probably pink or purple and different things like that, and you can tell them like, hey, if them being pink, kind of bubbly, kind of happy. If somebody does a red fish, you can tell them like, hey, red is usually expressed of anger. Just different small things like that, and kind of show them key details of just how the way they colored their fish, what different colors usually mean in an illustration. So for homework, I have students go home and read a story with their parents, and then come back and tell key details of their story. So I think that's kind of good, especially with all the teachers at Lakeshore, and I'm pretty sure Swartz and every other schools doing this. It's AR, AR, AR. So they go to the library and get AR books, obviously, and they can do it during their recess time. So just for them to spend a little bit of time with their parents reading their AR books, and then coming to you and telling them about their books, is a good way to make sure they understand their books and hopefully can get all their AR points. So I feel like that would be a good thing to start the next morning with, is just kind of go around and be like, can somebody raise their hand and tell me about their AR book? And then have them tell you key details, and whenever they have the extra time, let them go ahead and take the test. Every classroom I've observed lately has had a computer, and I've asked almost all of them, hey, are they allowed to take their test on there? And all of them will say yes in the spare time, which I agree. Sometimes you don't get spare time all the time, but that computer is there to take that AR test. So that's just a good way to go ahead and squeeze those AR points in there too. So early finishers, I put early finishers can draw the thing they predict and found out the story. So like I said, in what activities you want to do them before you read a story. Hey, what do you predict is going to happen in the Fat Pout Fish book? So you can have them draw out like, hey, we thought he was going to make a friend. They can draw two fish making friends. And just stuff like that. That way they can reassure and remember like what they predicted and what actually happened in the story. Special needs, I always put special needs and learning disabilities will have instruction read and loud to them. These students will also get a student time in their assignments. That's just kind of what most 504 students get, and I know that there's different like English learners and stuff like that they might need more one-on-one time. Basically with special needs students, I feel like it's the best one-on-one time. Like even if they start acting up, they get frustrated with the assignment, just go whenever you get a chance, or have their desk buddy or partner or group buddy, whoever, go and talk to them and try their best to work together. So in enrichment, students who still do not understand the key details to read another story with the teacher and have a chance to go and read a story key details. So I noticed, especially my first grade class that I was observing and helping out with teaching in, that they had a little tent. So sometimes she would like stay out of the tent, let the kids get in the tent, and she'd read stories with them for enrichment, or just kind of help them out. They'd read stories to her just for tests of their week and different things like that. So I feel like that would be a good thing. So you can read the same story, get another small story, and just read it to them and have them tell you the key details. Explain what key details are. And then I did kind of go over my reflection comments. I'll go over some of them again. So it seemed appropriate to grade. It kept their attention, and they seemed to really like it. It's at the ending when they kissed. They found it funny too. Some of them found it funny, while some of them were like, ew, cuties. So I feel like the one thing I could maybe improve on, just find a better book. I don't want to say a better book, because I do like this book, but just another book that would be very interesting, that's rhyming, that's colorful, that keeps their attention, but don't have kissing in. And they seem to all like the activities. So, just like I said, you can do a piece of paper. I actually found like a comprehension little thing on the website we've been using, so I showed it. It says I predict, I found. It's kind of just like a little table that if you wanted to, you can go by and do your students. I think it'd just be easy to do. I predict and write it on a piece of paper, but that's kind of just a paper activity if you want to do it. But that was a really loud, kind of without me being in the classroom, just me doing it afterwards because I forgot to do a video, and that's my lesson plan.